Hey guys, welcome back to my garage. My name is Brian. This is the Shifty Attitude channel, and today we're going to be doing some maintenance on my bike. This is part of my 20,000 mile service, so let's check it out. What we're going to be doing is adjusting the clutch. So I'm going to be taking the derby cover off and loosening up the jam nut, adjusting the clutch, getting it all tightened back down. And first thing we need to do is get into the auto adjuster on the right side of the bike and put slack in the clutch line. Okay, I don't have a lift, so I just put it up on the jack. And I do that just to get the bike straight. I'm not really lifting it up off the ground. I just want to lift the bike up straight so there's no oil will come out of that primary when I take the derby cover off. And that way I don't have a big mess and I don't have to replace any oil. Okay, first thing we need to do is push this cover up. I've already done it. But slide this cover off of this auto adjuster down here. And then you see those two little red tabs. Those little red tabs have to be pushed in. You see them there now. Push those red tabs in so it pops out on the back side. You'll see that the tab has come out. And once you get that collapsed and the pin pushed back in, that will put all the slack in the clutch handle and clutch cable so we can do the adjustments in the primary. As you can see, the clutch is just loose here, all the slack. And that's the way you want it before you crack the primary and do the adjustment in there. And one thing I wish that Harley would do is get away from those stinking Torx bit screws. If that one looks like it might be kind of stripped out too, but I've already had to put a new set of screws in this cover because I keep stripping them out. And how you like that nice little scratch there? It came from the last time I took that cover off. Isn't that fantastic? From when I stripped the screw. I would love to see them go to a hex head, Allen bolt, whatever you want to call it, screw and make that a little easier for us. Alright, so let's see if I can get this off of here today without stripping a screw. I don't feel like paying Harley for another set of screws. Oh, here we go again. Yep. I'll tell you what. I'm going to change these screws one day. I'm going to see if I can do this by hand with this thing here. They're not very tight. I actually think the torque on these is about, I think it said 84 to 108 inch-pounds, which is 7 to 9 foot-pounds, I believe. So they're not very tight. But you definitely want to use a torque wrench when you put them back on so you get them nice and even. Alright, so got the derby cover off. Turn this around where you can see it. And what we're going to be doing is loosening this jam nut and then making the adjustment with that center bolt and then tightening the jam nut back down. Alright, so I am using an 11/16 inch socket to get that jam nut loose. I have to use a breaker bar because I don't have a 1/2 inch drive socket. So I'm going to try to use this. And I know the basket spins when you're doing this, so you just have to do it carefully so you can get it to break loose. And it will. Once it breaks loose, just spin that out about halfway. Okay, so I lied about not having a socket. I actually have a torque wrench that's a 1/2 inch drive, so I could have used that. But the breaker bar works, so now I got it loose. I am using a 7/32 hex wrench. To adjust this correctly, you need to make sure that there's no contact. And you want to go tighten it till you start to feel contact. And then you want to back that off one full turn. There's a half. There's a full turn. Some people go a little bit further, like that. So I'll leave it there. And then you tighten down the jam nut. Okay, the torque spec for that jam nut is 6 to 10 foot-pounds. And I simply made a mistake that thinking my torque wrench was a 1/2 inch drive. It's not, it's 3/8. So I was correct. I did not have a 1/2 inch socket. Anyway, I'm going to try to torque this with a 11/16 socket. But probably not going to have luck because I don't have a deep well. I'm going to have to go get a deep well socket. Oh, I think I got it. There it goes. I have mine set to 8 foot-pounds. The range was 6 to 10. I set it to 8. While I have this thing slacked, I'm going to try to put some lube on that clutch cable right up in there, so it operates a little bit smoother. I'm going to use the Harley-Davidson, looks like a little needle, but it's a lube tube, I guess you could call it. I'm going to try to squirt some of that up in there on the clutch cable and get that lubed up. I'm just going to push it up in there and just try to get some of this on the cable. A moment. All right, looks like it got in there. I'm working in a little bit. I don't want to squeeze too hard on that cable because I have not put the cover back on that auto adjuster. And if you actuate that cable with that cover off, it'll just pop that little red, those little red pins out, that little red snap pin, and you'll lose your adjustment. Now, before we actually give the clutch a pull, we're going to have to release this red pin and then put the cover back down. So we're going to, well, I'm going to pop those out just like that. And that's going to adjust that clutch back out. You saw that come up. You just lock it in again. And bring down the cover. Now technically this cable should be inside that little loop right there. But because I put these bearing extensions on, this bracket is in the way, so I just left it out because it is a pain to get that out of there with that bracket in there. So I left it out. I took it out and left it out because it really doesn't make that much of a difference. So anyway, let's go check how the clutch is working. Okay, so watch the spring when I pull the clutch. Now that should be, clutch is the self-adjuster is where it's supposed to be. The red pin is flipped back in to lock it, but watch what happens when I pull the clutch. It automatically collapses. So it appears that my self-adjuster has broken. I'll latch it again. That's all the way out. Latch it again. It's latched in there. Let's pull the clutch again. Yeah, she's broken. So it's evidently inside there is broken. Even if I put the cover on it like you're supposed to. Cover that. It's still going to do the same thing. So you can hear that clutch cable slipping right through that self-adjuster. So it's like I'm going online to buy a part. And then we'll redo this and reconvene once that's fixed. I'll probably go with one of those aftermarket versions. It's all metal, so it doesn't break again. I've watched several videos about those, so it looks like it's my time to do one. Stay tuned. While it is disappointing that my clutch cable self-adjuster is broken, I actually meant to put one of those on anyway. I had been thinking about it for a while, and I think I saw one on Law Abiding Biker. I'll probably check out his store or look for some other ones. I know there's some out there, and get that changed to where it won't do that again. If that had happened when I was out on a ride somewhere, that would have really been much more of a pain and would have had to have somebody come get me or call a dealership or whatever. But anyway, it's not a big deal. I'm just going to turn this into a 2-part video. When I come back to install that piece, I will redo the clutch adjustment, make sure everything's good, and then we'll go from there. So y'all be safe. Thank you for stopping by, and we'll see you on the next one.